golfj.com.
All right, good evening, everybody. It's another edition of the Golf J podcast on Finger Lakes One TV, the first Golf J podcast ever that came the day after a Tiger Woods victory, if you can believe that. I'm Jim Sinacropi here alongside Rhett Taccone and Doug Brown, and tonight, of course, we're going to be talking about the new FedEx Cup champ, Justin Rose. That's the biggest story in the world of golf. Justin Rose has done it. He's captured the FedEx Cup title. It's unbelievable.
It's crazy. Did you see all the people following him down the fairway?
So we're all done with that topic?
And then Ryder Cup obviously is this week, and yes, Tiger Woods is the winner, completing. We'll discuss if that's actually completes the comeback. I mean, Tiger's comeback I think is bigger than just winning the Tour Championship small field event. We'll talk about that. Lots to talk about tonight. I mean, we should be right up against the full hour. So glad you could join us here on Monday, September 17th, here on the third floor of the North Park building in SenecaFalls.com, inside, or Seneca Falls, New York, inside the FingerLakes1.com studios. And yes, indeed, it's happened. We've talked about this ad nauseum for probably almost every single episode of the Golf J podcast. You know, is Tiger done?
Every time he's played, we've talked about it.
And he won not only just a tournament, but the Tour Championship, and he finished second in the FedEx Cup point standings. Yep. That to me is, but again, that goes back to just a screwy point system, I think, because he didn't win any events this year until now, and he didn't play in many events either. But still, right now he's the best player in the world the past few weeks, right?
I think so. I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, overall, like we've talked before, and whether it should be this way or not, the FedEx Cup rewards basically consistency throughout the year and doesn't necessarily reward winning. And, Justin Rose had a couple wins, but, he was consistent all year long and had a few misses as well. Comes down to the end there, and Tiger actually was a birdie from another guy away from winning the FedEx Cup as well and winning one tournament. Bryson DeChambeau wins 2 tournaments 3 weeks ago and is nowhere to be found. So it's like, it's a very screwy format. And then I saw that for next year's format, Justin Rose would have won the tournament by a shot. Right. So, I mean, and that's screwy too to me. Right. To give him.
No, he would have won the FedEx Cup by. Well, it's all.
Well, whoever wins next year,
it's one event next year.
Yeah,
that's
so
right.
That's screwy too. It's like he didn't win the tournament, but he did win the tournament.
But that would have worked out for. It probably wouldn't have worked out better than Tiger winning. But it would have worked out having, he won the FedEx Cup. You just saw it. He won. Right. Instead of finishing a group ahead of Tiger, his kids run out. Yeah. And then next thing you know, Bedlam breaks loose for Tiger.
Well, think about next year, though, if it was this year and Tiger's about to win the tournament, but he doesn't win the tournament because Justin Rose started with a 6-shot lead going into the tournament. And people that don't know what's going on would be like, what do you mean he didn't win the tournament? Right. So that would have been a disaster.
It's like a handicap event.
If it was next year.
We all love those.
And that was his first chance at winning a tournament. It would have been an absolute disaster. People wouldn't have had a clue what was going on.
Well, I don't know if that's the case or not, because I think by the time you get to Friday, all the scoring is already adjusted, and it is what it is.
I'm just talking about the casual fan that loves Tiger Woods that doesn't watch golf, period, other than that. Like yesterday, there was the highest rated Tour Championship in history, and it was only that way because Tiger Woods was walking down the fairway with a chance to win the tournament. People would have been losing their minds if they were like, what do you mean? He has the lead, but he doesn't have the lead because just the casual golfer wouldn't have understood that.
I think I agree with Jimmy, though, because I think what would happen next year is they're going to post the scores where they stand overall.
They're not going to ever say
what he's done this week. It's going to be overall he's minus 14, minus 13, minus 12, which would have already had that bogey already attached to it.
By the time they get to Sunday, it's just going to be a regular-looking leaderboard.
Right. What's going to look weird is on Friday morning you see somebody could be 12 under par, 13 under par after one round.
Right.
Yeah.
Because he got spotted 10 shots.
True.
Okay. But I think as that goes out during the course of the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I think that blends better. I think. It seems like that would be okay.
I just think it would have been a bigger deal and a little more confusing because Tiger won and Tiger was in the mix, as opposed to if it was Bryson and Justin Rose. Nobody would care. Nobody would have even paid attention to it. But there's a lot of casual golfers out there just follow Tiger Woods.
No doubt.
It would have been a little confusing. It's screwy. It's been screwy and it's still screwy next year. They did not get it resolved in my mind. I think I go back to Jim, you've said it, the match play stuff. I think they should introduce a little bit of that into the final round of this thing, or final 2 rounds. Or, even bring 16 guys to the final tournament. They've done it before. Tiger does it with his tournament. That doesn't dilute it at all, because we're really not arguing too much about 16 and 17, who gets in and who doesn't, as opposed to, 1 and 2 or something like those lines.
The whole idea of it being a playoff doesn't fit golf, because, well, in other sports you have a playoff, you get in, and it's like a new season, and whoever wins out, and you might say, oh, but geez, the Yankees had the best record in baseball, but they didn't win the World Series. Well, that's the way it is. That's the way it goes. But here they try to say that we're going to take the culmination of the whole season, and hopefully you're going to get somebody who's been consistent and who plays good at the end. And golf doesn't work like that. It's because who's playing good in April is rarely the same as who's playing good in August.
Right.
A few players can tend to be consistent, but if you're talking about rewarding consistency, Justin Rose only played in, I think, 13 events this year on tour. Is that, I have the number here somewhere, 18 starts.
Yes.
He made 18 starts. So to think that a guy could win the FedEx Cup just playing in 18 tournaments, that's not really rewarding consistency. He was outstanding in all 18 of those tournaments, but that's why I think in my mind, I would play the season, and you know what? After a certain date, you're going to take the top 16 guys, period. Yeah. And that way, too, nobody cares if number 126 misses the FedEx Cup playoffs.
Right.
But the leading up to the cut for the playoffs, between 16 and 17, you're talking about maybe, Jason Day versus, Mark Leishman, or there'd be some big names that would be trying to get into that top 16. Then once you get in there, like I say, do some couple rounds of stroke play, cut it down to 8, then go match play. And
so next year is 3 tournaments, right? Not
3 tournaments, and at the end of the first 2, when they cut the field down from 125 to 30 again,
right.
The guy that has the most points starts the tournament at -10. The second place starts at -8, and then once you get in there, it's a handicap tournament essentially.
Right. I like lowering the number on the first tournament, so there's still, but kind of like the NASCAR where it's the top 10. And it stays the top 10 for like the last 10 races, and they just jockey for position. If you didn't get into the top 10 over the course of the year, you're not good enough. Right. And that's really where you reward the consistency, is get into the top 10. So maybe you get into the top 30 or top 25 for the first tournament, then it's knocked down, and then you go into your match plays for the last tournament or something along those lines.
Good comparison, because those guys race every week, and these guys don't play golf every week.
True, but you still have, a number. You have to play to, be rewarded, I guess, or something along those lines. Not play just 18 tournaments. Maybe there's a minimum you got to play to qualify, or something along those lines too.
It's just different, but whether it's Bill Haas or Billy Horschel, that win these things, nobody views them as the champion of the year.
Right.
It's always going to be the majors. I don't know if there's anything you can do. I mean, I almost wouldn't mind seeing just going back to the old way of doing it. And you play till the season's over, and whoever won the most money.
Moneyless, yeah.
Right. But not as exciting, but manufacturing this stuff. And the other thing is next year it's $15 million, which, why are you wasting the money? $10 million, $15, who cares? I think you got the best players in the world going for it at $10 million. Why do you got to throw another $5 million? That's not going to make it any more interesting or exciting. Wow, they're playing for $15 million instead of 10. Who cares? $10 million, $15 million? Jeez.
Nobody even talked
Give the
about
money
it
to
yesterday.
Charity or something, or to the Golf J podcast.
Yeah, right? Nobody even talked about it yesterday, because the Tiger effect, it didn't even matter. It was nothing about it. So like you said,
it was the biggest story of the morning today on Sports Talk Radio was Tiger, but it wasn't overwhelming like I thought it would be. I thought people would lose their minds, but I think he's been slowly edging up to this point that it wasn't a big shock or surprise.
Yeah.
And he had the big lead going into Sunday. It wasn't a dramatic win. Although I didn't feel like he had it until he hit that bunker shot on 18. I always wondered,
Leaked a little oil there in the middle of the back nine.
He shot one over on the day, and most everybody else at the top were under par. Although Justin Rose was +3, and he's your FedEx Cup champ.
Yeah. And Rory McIlroy was nowhere to be found.
No.
Yeah.
He was in the final group, shot 5 over.
The guys that shot low really didn't have anything to play for either.
No, they were just moving up, that's all.
So yeah, Billy Horschel came in second, Dustin Johnson third, who was quietly, might have done enough to secure Player of the Year. Be between him and Koepka and DeChambeau, and Tiger would have to be in the mix, I suppose. He won the FedEx Cup, but
Justin Rose.
Tiger
Yeah,
did
Justin
not win
Rose.
the FedEx Cup.
Yeah, you're right. He won the tour. He won one tournament.
Rose won 2 tournaments.
3, I think,
3,
right?
Won the FedEx Cup, number 1 player in the world. I think you got to give it to him.
Yeah, Koepka's
0
got 2
majors. Yeah.
He's got 2 majors.
0
True.
majors. You win 2 majors in the year. That's pretty much sews it up.
Yep.
That's true.
But again, that's just a arbitrary
Splitting hairs.
award that they give out every year.
Fortunately, the players vote.
Oh, that is a player
Yes,
voted
it
thing.
is.
Okay.
Yes, it is. So it's
No sports writers
no
or anything.
media, no podcast general manager. None of them people get involved. So let's talk about the tournament. We were talking about next year's event. Let's talk about yesterday's FedEx.
Doug's been dying to talk
Come
about
on.
this.
I thought that the scene at 18 when Tiger won was great for the game of golf. I think it was everything you could hope for in a scenario where it was more of a coronation than a last hole putt to win, a birdie on the last hole. I think something like that would have been better. But coming up 18, Tiger pretty much had it in the bag, and the party was kind of on, and they let the fans spill into the fairway, and it was a great scene, and it was hard not to get a little emotional.
Yes.
I'm not a Tiger Woods fan, and there's one of two things going on here. Tiger could be he's obviously a kinder, gentler Tiger right now. So what my question is this like actually Tiger, or did Tiger realize that he'd fallen so low that he has to change his approach? But he is now easier to like.
Yeah.
And so my question is was that a calculated change with so much money on the line for him professionally, or do you think he has actually become a kinder, nicer person than the old Tiger?
I think he's changed. I think he's a more kinder, nicer person. I think he's been humbled by the setbacks that he's had. You listen to Nota Begay talk on the Golf Channel, who's buddies with his, stays his place a lot. When you hear about him not being able to get off the floor, it puts a little bit better light into what's going on with this guy's bad back, and I guess his one left leg would go numb sometimes. So if you hear all that going on, and your career is to play golf, and he thinks he can't play golf anymore. And of course, he also said he couldn't play in the backyard with his kids.
Yeah.
I think that my opinion would be it's very humbling. I think he's changed because of that. I think he now doesn't take for granted what he had.
Right.
Okay. I think he's probably worked maybe harder during this stretch than he ever did in his life.
Oh, no question.
Okay, to get to the level he's back to. And I think he's extremely naturally talented golfer anyways, but he had some ailments. So I think you're seeing a different guy.
And I think he may have given up on himself a little bit at one point too. When you look at the mug shots from the the driving under the influence back a year and a half ago now, he probably had to think it was over.
Yeah.
So something happened, which is what you want in any storybook ending type of scenario. Is the guy gets to almost the end of his rope, and then something kicks in, and I'm amazed. Brownie, did you ever lose faith in Tiger? Did you think that I think he's
There
done?
was one time during one of these shows earlier, maybe in the late spring, early summer, where I said I'm not so sure. Other than that, I've been buying it all along. But there was one time he didn't make the cut. After he showed some progress, then he missed the cut. I don't remember where it was, because I saw him play at the Honda down in West Palm Beach and looked very good. He finished, I'm going to say, top 5.
Was it Bay Hill that he missed the cut?
So, no, he had a chance to win the Bay Hill, but he hit in the water in 16 or hit it out of bounds or something.
Which one was it?
But I remember we talked to him and I said, well, I'm not so sure now, because I thought that week was a pretty good setback. But then since he came back out of there, let's face it, he had the British Open in his hands, let it get away.
Yeah.
Okay. But it wasn't because his game looked like it was unraveling. He hit a couple of errant shots and it cost him. I think he got ahead of himself. Okay, I think if the British Open was to happen yesterday, he wins that British Open all day.
Yeah.
All right. My opinion with him right now, not only is the golfing world, the whole world is put back in balance where it belongs to be. And the Earth is back on the right axis, spinning properly. Tiger for president.
So with that thought in mind, does this cause a boom in the general game of golf the way it did last time Tiger?
I think it'd be a general boom. I think the difference is going to be he's probably more disconnected from the younger crowd now than he was then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, obviously he's 42 years old. Okay, however, I don't know how many parents might have been buying in yesterday, and the kids are sitting there watching too.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. Probably take a year or two to really answer your question. Okay, but he has such an impact. Love him or hate him, such an impact on golf.
It's a reboot. It's a reboot of not necessarily the playing wise or the talent wise or the domination of the early 2000s, but this is a reboot of Tiger Woods, and it's going to attract a whole other generation of players if he is in fact back. And you were saying that earlier, Jim. Is he all the way back? And I would say he is and he isn't, in the sense that he is now, because most people were talking about will he even ever win a tournament again. So he's done that. So now it resets again, and is he back all the way?
Right.
Well, now some people will say no until he wins a major. Like Stephen A. Smith this morning was talking a lot of nonsense. But one of the things he said is he's not back to me yet. He hasn't won a major. Well, from where he was a year ago, based on what he says, you got to say that he's back to top form now.
He's back in the game, but is the comeback complete?
Well, I mean, I guess that's just opinion, because some people say yes because he won a tournament and he's
a small field event.
Yeah, but all the best in the world though too.
True, but beating 30 of the best players in the world is a lot easier than beating a field of 100 golfers that also includes the best 30. I mean, But
other sports, like you throw your elbow out in baseball and you have to have Tommy John surgery, and you won a couple World Series titles before you got hurt. You come back and pitch again, but you have 22 wins and 3 losses, but you never win a World Series. Are you back?
Oh yeah, you're back.
Right. So he's back.
Comparatively,
to me, he's back just because he won a tournament and he's in the conversation all the time again, and he's moving all the way back towards even top 10 in the world.
He's back. You can look at him. There he is. He won. And Tiger's back. But
well, no, I know he's back. Everybody crumbled yesterday.
Yeah.
Rory McIlroy crumbled after he birdied the first hole, after Tiger birdied the first hole. Justin Rose crumbled. It was like Davis Love crumbled in Las Vegas.
Yeah, but
Those
Rose
guys
crumbled in the previous FedEx tournament where he bogeyed 18 twice in a row.
They were all caught up in that moment. That crowd Rory McIlroy had, he's never seen before.
Well, let's see what happens at Augusta in the spring.
Mm-hmm.
That's the other thing with Tiger. Okay, your fantasy golf draft is tomorrow for next year. Is Tiger your number one pick?
Yeah.
That's a risky pick.
I'll take
Right,
it.
he's a
number
first-round
one.
pick for somebody.
Right, first round pick, but
Okay.
would you take him over Dustin Johnson or Justin Thomas?
The one thing you don't
Brooks
know is
Koepka?
how much he's going to play. He played a lot this year.
A lot of those fantasy things are based on majors, though, too. So he's going to play in them.
And figure to contend in most of them, he contended in the majors this year well, obviously the British Open, but he was
He had 10 top 10s. I mean, he's back. He's all the way back for something like that, especially.
He's going to go in the top 3.
He had one of the best seasons of anybody. He's top 5 every week in DraftKings. So I mean, why wouldn't you take him number 1?
Who would you pick in front of him?
Yeah,
you mentioned a couple.
I would probably take Dustin Johnson and potentially Justin Thomas over going into next year. My thinking with that is Dustin Johnson's lower risk. Like, you got to figure DJ with one major win is going to win more majors, and so now would be the time. Justin Thomas at one point this year looked to be the best player in the world going away. So again, being younger, more upside. With Tiger, it's a long time between now and Augusta, and he's probably not going to play too many tournaments, and there's the potential that something comes up with his back. I don't know.
I understand the risk. But you wouldn't pick McIlroy before him?
Probably.
Justin Rose, no.
Probably not.
Hideki Matsuyama, no.
No.
Two guys, maybe. If you had the
That's
third,
right.
DeChambeau.
If you had the third pick, you'd
No.
take. No, definitely not. He's not. He melted down again this
If you get
weekend.
the third pick and Tiger falls to you, you take him.
Yeah.
Right? Absolutely.
I'm not taking any. You can't argue with the two you mentioned.
No,
obviously,
I agree.
There's no reason to, but you also can't say that taking him is not is that big a risk over those two either. So, I mean, it's basically 3, 4, 5 guys. They're all thrown in the hat. It goes back to, again, that his dominance is not what it was. He's in the mix. He's back. He's a regular front runner, so to speak, but he's not Tiger of 2001. I mean, we'll never see that again. So if people are trying to say he's back to that, that'll never happen. But
I would have never thought it would be, and I still don't think it will be, but I think it's a possibility. I think it's a possibility Tiger could win the Masters and then win the U.S. Open.
Mm-hmm. That's
Imagine if Tiger wins the Grand Slam next year.
That's why it's hard not to say you wouldn't take him. If you think that, but why wouldn't you not take him?
No, I said it's a possibility, but it's a risky. To me, that would be a risky pick. I think a safer pick would be one of the other top players in the world. I think there's too much could go wrong with Tiger, and just that Tiger did get it to this point, he's going to enter next season at age 43 with a fused back, and we'll just have to see.
Freddie should have got the surgery a long time ago.
But that's the point. Yeah. It's the point is that this is now everything's so much more interesting.
No question. Definitely is.
And I just can't imagine what it's going to be like next April when they get to Augusta.
Well, it'll be interesting to see, too, because we'll have already had the Players' Championship.
That's right.
We've already had the Arnold Palmer.
He'll probably play in Hawaii, too, as a tournament of champions.
Yeah.
He'll get invited to the first tournament of the year.
Mm-hmm. He usually plays one or two of the California tournaments.
And he usually goes to San Diego. So you'll get a trend. But try to be a couple of big events before the Masters.
Yeah.
And can he maintain, given his ailing body that is now seem to be repaired, can he maintain a practice schedule through the off season, or is he going to be starting over? Is he going to take a break and maybe play one event in the fall and then?
That's one thing he said. He hasn't practiced as much.
Right.
He is limited at that. So I mean, it would be. I think he probably hits the reset button, but I don't know if he plays as many times as he did this year.
So he's going to Ryder Cup, obviously. Then he'll play. Will he play in that World Golf Championship that's in China?
Probably not.
CMB or something like
that?
Yeah,
the HBC, HSBC
champions.
Okay.
I hate that's the worst tournament of them all.
Right. Then there's that Hero Challenge in December that he puts on.
I mean,
so he'll do that.
Playing that.
All right. So maybe
he's got a big match with Phil Mickelson.
Yeah, we got to pay to watch.
I wonder if Phil's going to want to play that anymore.
After this week, Phil only got dusted by 24. So we'll see him at least then in December. After the Ryder Cup.
We got more Tiger coming up next week.
Yeah.
But before we get on to the Ryder Cup, everybody's touting this is the greatest comeback in sports history, likening it to a fictional Rocky story. Yeah. But I would argue it's not even the greatest comeback in golf history.
Ben Hogan.
Yeah.
Got hit by a bus.
Couldn't walk, came back and won 6 majors after that accident.
I think this is a great return, but I can't compare it to Hogan. From the pictures I've seen and what I've read of his comeback or his injuries to begin with,
I mean
that he was damn near dead.
Right.
I can't compare that with this.
Of course,
I don't want to put he only had a bad back. I'm not trying to say that, but
bad back and a lot of personal issues, obviously, that he overcame.
Right.
But I just don't want people to forget about Ben Hogan.
I think because it's been so long since he won.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great story, and we all wanted to see it. But if you, and a lot of people won't know about Ben Hogan, but if you span the test of time with golf, come on, the guy got hit by a bus,
right?
And
at a time when medical treatment wasn't even come close to what it is today,
no.
Right?
I mean,
so
it's the guy's almost dead.
I think you got a lot of journalists who are younger.
They need the stories.
Where's what's that? Al Jenkins? Is that the guy that writes golf books? Dan Jenkins. Dan Jenkins.
Yeah.
Is he still alive?
Yeah.
I wonder what he would say because he was probably writing during that Hogan era.
I think the 2008 U.S. Open story is a better story even than him coming back right now.
On the broken leg?
Yeah, the story of that whole term.
It wasn't a comeback, but you're right. That whole legendary.
Yeah, I mean, that to me is a bigger story or better story than this. This is, like I've said, if he doesn't play well this weekend, it's going to be a blip on the radar screen because he's going to be under the microscope of, not doing well in Ryder Cups historically.
He certainly put himself under the microscope this coming week.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. If he goes 0-3, for example.
Right.
Oh, my. It'll be interesting what gets written about him then.
Also be
Because some of that stuff you have no control over because you're a two-man team.
He was never a great Ryder Cup player.
No,
he's not been.
not really.
Below average.
Yes.
He's only got one.
So this would be a chance, if he does have a good showing in France and helps America retain the cup.
Yep.
He's probably never been a great teammate. Maybe this year he will be after being a vice captain a couple times.
Yep.
And now he can become the mentor to a Bryson DeChambeau if they ever put them together.
I think this lends to your topic earlier about has he changed. I think this will be a good test of that too, as far as playing in the kinder, gentler Tiger Woods. Because it always seemed like in Ryder Cups as focused and as intense as he was, it never played well to being a good teammate with another golfer trying to hit alternate shot or things like that. He always did well. His singles record, I think, is much better than his overall record.
Most of the people on this Ryder Cup team aren't guys that he kicked their butt for most of their careers either. They're younger guys who grew up watching him.
Yeah.
So that might make a difference. Before we move on here, just interesting to note what's in Tiger's bag because it's a different looking bag than it was last time he won on tour. He's playing a TaylorMade M3 460 driver. He's playing TaylorMade M3 3-wood and 5-wood, TaylorMade TW Phase 1 prototype irons 3 through pitching wedge, so he carries a 3-iron. TaylorMade milled grind wedges 56 and 60 degrees, only 2 wedges. Most players carry more. One piece of Titleist equipment in there, and that would be the Scotty Cameron Newport 2 GSS, the famous putter that he went back to and when he started having some more success here lately. And then he plays the Bridgestone Tour BXS golf ball. So different look in the bag. TaylorMade's loving it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, they had Justin Rose, too.
Yeah. How about that?
Rory McIlroy's TaylorMade.
DJ, Adam,
yes.
or Jason Day, they've got them all now.
They've got a good stable.
Yeah,
no doubt.
So once again, Justin Rose wins the FedEx Cup with a 73 Sunday at East Lake, and it's all anybody can talk about.
Dramatic fashion.
He's the champion golfer of the year on the PGA Tour. So.
There's so many ways they could get this right, and they still can't do it.
But that crowd,
I don't know if you can get it right.
The crowd in the bleachers didn't know how to react when he putted and he kind of fist pumped and all that.
Yeah.
You could tell they're like, what's going on here?
No, that guy just won $10 million. There's
okay,
his
get
kids.
out of the way.
Yeah, there's his kids.
Right,
Where's Tiger?
Move out of the way. There's about 5,000 people coming down.
Stampede.
Yeah, I don't know if there is a way to get it right. I don't know if golf is made to have a postseason like this. I don't know if there's any way you can get it right, even if it is match play.
Small note before we move forward. My buddy Joe, you met a couple years ago up here. He was at the tournament yesterday, and he was in a box with Julius Erving.
Really, Dr. J?
Yeah.
What did Dr. J take on it?
They were on the 18th fairway, so they weren't up near the green, but they saw the whole thing and just. Everybody was going bananas, and Dr. J said it was the coolest thing he's ever seen in golf because he's been to a lot of golf tournaments apparently. He likes golf, so my buddy talked to him for a little bit. Joe did.
That's crazy.
Yeah, right. You see Tiger Woods win, you're in the box with Julius Erving.
Nice. Good day.
And Joe's a diehard Celtics fan. So
You probably didn't mention that to Dr. J.
He didn't mention that he was a Celtics fan.
You wait till the end of the day to say that.
Right.
So, yeah, Ryder Cup week. So every other year, finally. I mean, for a lot of golf fans, Ryder Cup's the best. Better than the Masters. Better than the Open. It's like the culmination. Unfortunately, this Ryder Cup is being played in France, which means it's going to be early morning viewing, and it's tough to gain much traction outside of the diehard golf fans when it's like this. But it is the game of golf is on display in a manner that it usually isn't. It's not your standard leaderboard. It's match play points. It's there's some patriotism going on here. Team play in golf. There's nothing better. And if you ever had a chance to be part of a team as a golfer, as opposed to just playing, I'm not talking about a 2-man or a 4-man scramble team. I'm talking about a team of guys representing your club. It's one of the most fun things to do, and I think a lot of these players feel the same way. Everybody wants to get on the Ryder Cup team, and now it's all set. And here we go, Friday through Sunday. The U.S. holds the cup. Le Golf National in France is the course, and it's only the second time that continental Europe will host a Ryder Cup. Last time, 1997, Valderrama.
That wasn't a good one
in
for us.
Spain. So, and if you want to watch it on TV, set your alarm. Friday at 2 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Golf Channel. Saturday's matches will be 2 to 3 a.m. on Golf Channel. Then you can switch it over to NBC at 3 a.m. And that coverage will continue to 1 p.m. And then Sunday, a little more palatable schedule for the singles matches, 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. on NBC. So NBC's got it.
That's doable.
And the Golf Channel. I'm sure they'll do a good job. It's been a 25-year Ryder Cup winless drought in Europe for the U.S. The United States leads the overall 26-13-2. However, Europe holds a 10-8-1 edge since the it used to be just Great Britain and Ireland. Now it's all of Europe. So since that's happened, Europe actually has a better record than us, which a lot of people don't mention when they talk about the United States dominance of this event. So it's since they've opened it up to all Europe, it's been pretty even. And you're going to be down in Florida golfing.
Yeah.
But you've got plans to watch.
I say that now, yes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like most of the time the replays are on is when we're out and about, but I'm going to try and stay up as long as I can and watch as much as I can of it. But I think I'll fall asleep here and there for sure.
Well, let's right off the bat. Who's the favorite to win this thing? I mean, I'll go first. I think that Europe's a favorite because when I look at this Tour Championship, I see in the last 4 of the last 5 finishers, Brooks Koepka, Patrick Reed, Bubba Watson, and Phil Mickelson. So that's 30% of our team right there finished at the rock bottom of the Tour Championship. Mickelson at 13 over, Watson at 10 over, Reed at 9 over. That does not bode well, seeing that they're going to be teeing it up 4 days from now. And they just stunk it. I mean, by contrast, Tiger was minus 11. So he beat Phil Mickelson by 24 shots in 4 rounds.
But look at how many Americans were in the field of 30 compared to just overall non-Americans. Forget Europeans. I think it's 23-7. So we got to be at the top and the bottom of the leaderboard.
Yeah, it's just that those are
look at the team.
Those are key.
Where was Casey? Where was Olsen? They're all playing with Garcia. They all didn't make the cut.
Well, no,
Poulter.
Casey was there. Casey was
okay, but Olsen wasn't. Garcia, Poulter, Rahm imploded. McIlroy imploded.
Well, we got some at the top and the bottom. You know, we got the first, the third, the fourth,
right,
the seventh, and. You know, so
I'll contradict USA by a round.
15th
by a round.
In a round.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's been, like I said, a long time since they've won on European soil, and I would have left Mickelson right off the team completely. And but Europe has a guy on the team that probably shouldn't be on there either, and Sergio Garcia, who's been playing horribly, but made the team for the same reasons as Mickelson did.
They're both looking for the senior leadership, the magic of the of past cups for Sergio for one, and Phil's had some success recently and has had a lot to do with it. I think more how much he's had to do with the influence of who's on the team and how.
Sure.
From his last couple of years, some of the changes, tweaks to the rules of picking the team.
Any one of those guys might only play in a Sunday singles match.
True.
You just never know.
Yeah,
if somebody's playing that bad, why put him in?
Yeah, I mean, how many times are you going to put Phil out there with 12 guys? I mean,
or if it's that bad, you put him in the best ball format, not the alternate shot.
Right.
If he doesn't play well, you bench him until Sunday.
I said he probably goes out he probably goes out in the first round. First 18 on Thursday, and you might not see him again until Sunday, depending on how he does.
Doesn't go well? Possibility.
Yeah.
1 in 25 years. You got to do everything you can to win.
Yeah.
Right? So
I'm excited to see who he puts together with who. Start seeing who's practicing with who tomorrow. And that'll give us a good idea. But So Doug says a romp. You say the Europeans.
Well, a 2 or 3 point win's a romp. It's interesting how those.
True.
1 point is huge in this event.
There's 14.5 to win.
And you only need to get 14 for us to keep it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I would say, I think Europe wins in a close match, but I would have, if I might put money on, I'd bet Europe. I'll be rooting for America though.
I think I'd go with Europe as well. I think it's just one we haven't won on European soil in 25 years.
We're due.
So I hope you're right. I hope that's true. But it's just something about their competitiveness and they're just, I don't know, they get in our heads. And hopefully the guys that are going this year don't care about that and don't let that affect them. 2 years ago, obviously, I think we turned the tables with that, and I think we saw a little bit more of us have that competitiveness.
Made some putts.
Yeah, exactly. Made some putts that were clutch and a little more clutch gene than we've had in the last few.
Right.
But when we lost at Medina, that's the type of stuff I think you could see this week in Europe. Just snake bit, big comebacks, something that just we have it and give it away or so. I don't know. I can totally see that happening. I hope it doesn't, but I could see it. Because this team, it's one of those, another one where we're so expected to win in a landslide. And how many times have we been the giant favorites and come away empty-handed and shaking our heads? So hopefully that doesn't happen.
4 balls and foursomes. I mean, could they make it any more confusing?
Yeah.
4 ball is best ball. In other words, all 4 players play their own ball. You're on a team of 2, and the best score between your team is the score that gets used when you finish the hole. Right. Foursomes is alternate shot. So why not call it best ball and alternate shot? As a matter of fact, in mostly all of anywhere else in golf, when you talk about these formats, you don't call it that. I don't know why it's called that in the Ryder Cup.
At the least, the alternate shot should be called alternate shot because nobody has a clue what they're talking about when they say foursomes.
I agree.
At least with 4 ball, you kind of figure
it makes sense.
Yeah,
4 balls.
That's how I remember it.
Right.
Yeah.
But the other one, what does foursomes mean? We're all just going to go out and shoot our number. I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
So I think they do the 4 ball first.
It's their captain's choice on the rotation. I haven't heard yet.
Yeah, I haven't either. I was looking for it. Also interesting is, the Friday morning matches will tee off at 2:10, 2:25, 2:40, and 2:55 a.m. in Eastern Time. And then after they're done, the afternoon pairings have to be submitted by about 7:05 a.m. is what the official time is. And then they go back out at 7:50, 8:05, 8:20, and 8:35. So these players aren't learning who they're playing or if they're playing until less than an hour before their tee time.
Right.
But it is the second round for a lot of these guys, so it's not like they need a full warm-up session like they would. And then same thing on Saturday. After the morning matches, 7:05, they'll submit the pairings, and then they go back out again. And then Sunday, singles, the first tee time 6:05 a.m., the last tee time's 8:07 a.m. So, there's a 2-hour window there. There's that. It's all fun to watch, but Sunday singles gets a little crazy. There's a lot of golf out there for just being 12 guys on each team. There's more action there than on your standard final round of a PGA Tour tournament.
No doubt. Who do you guys think on the U.S. side is a good candidate for a lot of bench time? You look at
Mickelson.
This roster. I think Bubba Watson's a candidate for
Watson,
bench time.
Mickelson, DeChambeau, or Finau, if they're don't play well early.
I think Reed's going to be on the bench a little bit.
Yeah, Captain America, though.
I don't know. I like Finau to play a lot. I would love to see him and Tiger play together. I think that'd be cool.
I think you'll see everybody play Friday, so there'll be 4 guys that sit out
and I think
in the morning. They'll all play in the afternoon.
Yeah.
That way they're all into it.
Mm-hmm. And then you decide.
Yep. I think you'd hate to leave somebody out. And Tiger might even ask under his recovery conditions, I don't want to play 36 holes.
Right.
Or maybe there's one day I don't want to. And if they do it right.
Maybe Tiger doesn't play 36 at all.
Maybe not. Right?
Same with Mickelson.
But if
Mickelson's
you do it right,
47, isn't he?
Once.
Mickelson's 47 years old.
Yeah,
I think so.
Phil definitely. No, I could see Tiger playing both Friday, sitting one Saturday, maybe sit in the morning.
It could be that.
You know,
they could all sit once, and everybody gets 3 out of 4. they do it right.
Yeah.
So the problem is you get a high golfer,
Yeah.
and you plan on sitting him, and you take about Patrick Reed, and all of a sudden he goes out and shoots 62, and they kick some butt. You're going to sit him?
Yeah.
We're going to assume we're going to see Reed and Spieth,
Yeah, I
Right?
would assume so too.
and neither of them are in great form.
No, but they play well together.
Yeah, I mean, you really almost got to throw everything out the window at this point, and it's a new week. It's on the other, it's over.
Yeah.
I think it's too close to the Tour Championship.
Mhm.
It seems like they just finished on Sunday, and now they all got to hop on a plane and get over there. I think a week off would have been nice,
Right.
and allowed for a chance to build a little more anticipation.
Mhm.
PGA Tour's got to shove those tournaments in. Got to get one in every week, basically. Don't they start the next season next week?
Next week.
Two
So-
2 weeks.
Safeway Classic,
Week off, maybe.
The first weekend of October, right?
So that's
which
next
would be
week.
the week after the Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
There's not even one weekend off.
No.
No.
Wow.
Yeah, that's nuts. It doesn't make any sense.
What do they play? 5 events and they have 7 weeks off or something? Or 7 events and 5 weeks off?
That's right. Yeah, they do have
So-
a decent break and no.
'Cause I think from
November,
December on, they don't go until they go to Hawaii,
Right.
something like that. So,
But,
or
wow,
Thanksgiving on.
crazy. Last year it was. Last year was October 5th through 8th, so
Yep.
it's next week.
Well, you wonder what the Americans are wearing? Have you seen this?
Some nice stuff.
It's not anything like Ben Crenshaw's captaincy.
No.
I think they look great.
Is it polo?
I didn't even look. Yeah, it is. Ralph Lauren designed these. I don't know if they get if it's polo as much as it is the RL. He brands it now with like an RL.
Yeah, can't go wrong with him.
So you're looking at Friday's outfit there. That's pretty sharp. White pants
Like it.
and the horizontal white stripe on the navy blue shirt. And you notice those pants. That'll be a reoccurring theme with the USA on there.
They got the pinstripes one of those days. That's what I like.
Yep, that would be Saturday. They
Yeah.
kind of flip-flop the tops and the bottoms. Go
Very
white
good.
up top and white pinstripes on the blue pants below.
Love the pinstripes.
Nice trousers. And then back to the white pants. I mean, 2 days wearing white pants. Solid blue tops on Sunday. That'll be the singles matches. A lot of white pants.
Red
Yeah.
hat. What color's the hat on?
Not a lot of red.
Yeah, I got a red hat. A lot of red trim, but not red. Mostly blue and white with just red trim.
So you got a gray hat on Friday?
Friday. Yeah, that's a gray hat on Friday. I don't have the Europeans' uniforms, but
That's all right.
that's what they'll be wearing. I like them overall. I just white pants, two of the 3 days.
I hope they've tested the rain jackets.
They do have some outerwear too. I don't know if I can find that on here or not. Let's see.
Remember the year they rained and all the rain jackets leaked?
Oh, that was Rory, or that was what's his Corey
Corey
Pavin.
Pavin?
Corey Pavin was the captain, and his wife picked out the outfits. They were the worst
Oh.
ever. They leaked. They had that weird script.
Yep.
It's just terrible.
They were all
Terrible.
going in the golf shop buying rain gear out of the
Yeah,
out of the
that's
pro
right.
shop.
That's
Yeah.
In the
They
event
did.
of inclement weather, that's what you'll see.
Well, there you go. Look at the information you've got.
I'm sure
Yeah.
those will be a little nicer too than Rory or Corey's wife picked out. I think Davis Love did the best job. 'Cause he's a polo guy though too. So polo's been in the mix for a few years. But Davis did a great job, I think. Well, 2 years ago they had some good stuff too. The red and blue striped shirts, I like those.
Have you guys seen the grandstand behind the first tee? Have you seen that yet?
Looks like
It's huge.
it's like a skyscraper.
To put it in perspective, it will seat 6,500 patrons. That's more than the first tee stands at Hazeltine, Glen Eagles, and Medina combined. And
Jesus.
it's, 6,500 patrons on a golf tee is significant. I mean, it is. I imagine you will be able to see that from all over the course. Obviously,
Yeah, you got to go up. to get
it's
really fast.
huge. It is. I've never seen anything like it for golf.
Wow.
And I don't think that it overlooks the 18th green or anything like that. So it's just for the first tee, which is kind of wild. But I suppose that when you show up in the morning as a spectator for the Ryder Cup matches, there's nothing you can really do until they tee off.
That's right.
Yeah.
You can watch them all tee off and then get out there and still see them all,
That's
see all the
reactions.
matches.
Yep.
So that'll be interesting. Yeah, only other thing with me is just that the time of the play being in the early morning is going to be tough. I'll probably catch a lot of this 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. portion of the broadcast and miss a lot of those morning matches.
Yeah.
But sometimes I don't go to bed till 2 a.m., so maybe I'll stay up a little later and catch a little bit, but then I won't be getting up early the next morning.
I remember it was 3 years ago, the President's Cup when it was in Asia. That was tough to watch, but I stayed up and watched the whole thing. I don't know why, but I did.
Yeah, and again, Ryder Cup way better than President's Cup.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There was one year it was in Europe, and I know you came over. I invited everybody over to have breakfast and watch the Europe. And as soon as I turned the TV on, it was a rain delay. They didn't play it one hole the whole day.
Eggs were good though.
Yeah, the eggs are great.
When I was in Florida, one of my buddies and I and another guy used to watch it every other year at his place, and we do that every 5 or 6 straight. And we'd always go to this par 3 late in the afternoon after it was all done for the day. Depending on where it was. It was a lighted par 3, one club, all the Coronas you could drink. It was a good time, good old days. So I'm going to be with those guys this weekend, so it'll be nice to get back and watch the Ryder Cup with those guys if anybody can stay awake.
It's really an interesting event. I had the pleasure of going in '95 to Oak Hill, and I went the entire week, practice rounds, the whole thing. Didn't miss, I missed a lot of golf because you're out there watching, you only see who you're following, but I saw some incredible golf. Sadly, the U.S. folded up a little bit on Sunday. We got beat, but to watch those flags go on the board and come off the board and the emotions with all that, and the competitiveness of the week before you were playing against those guys individually, and now you really want to take them down hard. It's a different environment. You hear these guys talk about playing for their country. They're sincere when they say that. It's a totally different environment.
I mean, Americans are truly playing for their country. You're playing for their continent.
Well, yeah, I guess so.
But there still is a lot of national pride. It's maybe even another layer of the fact that you are playing for your team. But as part of that team, you want to make sure that your country's represented. If you're Alex Noren, you want to play. You don't want to let your countrymen down by playing bad for the team.
Right.
Same thing. Of course, the Spaniards are always, thanks to Muriel Olazabal and Seve and Sergio, are historically, great Ryder Cup players. So that puts a little pressure on John Rahm and Sergio to play well. And then, the Englishmen always are pretty proud of their own. So Justin Rose, the reigning king of the world of golf.
For now.
It's FedEx Cup champ.
Well, yeah, 12 guys for
Olympic
one country.
champ too.
Yeah, and Olympic champ, right?
Still
That's
got
good.
the gold medal.
When's the next Olympic year? 2020. Okay, so we'll have a President's Cup next year, and then the Olympics and Ryder Cup in the same year again.
Yep.
So the Olympics and Ryder Cup will always be in the same year.
Yeah, they're on the same schedule.
That's why they're trying to separate a little bit too, so it doesn't go.
Yeah.
Because the Olympics were in August, and that conflicted with the PGA.
Yeah.
Or it was the week before the PGA, I think, is when it was. They come off the British Open a week off, Olympics,
yeah, it was
PGA.
really, really compressed.
Yeah, Summer Olympics are in August.
Yep.
So yeah, we've got Francisco Molinari's name hasn't been mentioned. The lone Italian player. But, a month and a half ago, he was the best player in the world for a stretch. And that's the thing about golf and why it's so difficult to put these teams together. It's based on how long did they accumulate Ryder Cup? 2 years, for Ryder Cup point standings. And it's just...
They put more emphasis on the second year.
Right.
But you could have had a tremendous year a year ago.
And almost locked it up.
Probably locked it up, yeah.
So, Webb Simpson's the guy we didn't mention yet. He should be fine. He played
had a good week.
Yeah, he played good in Atlanta, finishing tied for 4th.
Yep.
Guys like Molinari are the ones that scare me. Him and Stenson. People aren't talking about Molinari, but they should be because he's had a great year.
Yep.
Stenson's had a quietly
Fleetwood,
really good year.
if you want to talk about consistency, Tommy Fleetwood's been great. He'll be tough. Tyrell Hatton, the guys that don't scare me on here are some of the guys that like Paul Casey and Sergio, and even Ian Poulter I'm not too concerned with. And Stenson has not played well. And then on the American side, we just mentioned Mickelson, Watson, and Reed. Not good.
Yeah, you pair those guys with the right partner in that 4-ball, and let's just say Rose goes out and plays well, but he has a couple of hiccups, and Poulter makes 2 birdies on those hiccup holes, and Poulter's the hero.
Right.
You never know, that whole energy gets going, and
you could have 10 doubles.
And
he makes those 2 birdies.
Gets his hair colored like a peacock or something, and we got Ian Poulter all over us again.
Yeah.
So
he's been known to hurt us.
Right, and the same thing we said. We talked about some guys who aren't in top form for the U.S. team. If you get paired right, especially in the 4-ball, and the alternating shot, if you're not playing so good, especially if you're not teeing the ball out very well,
right?
So could set the teams back.
And if you look at some of the guys who are there as vice captains as well, especially on the European side, they're guys that have had a ton of success against Americans. Yeah. Luke Donald, Padraig Harrington, Graham McDowell, and Lee Westwood. I like Europe to win in a close match. It'll come down to Sunday, and that's what you hope to. Even when the U.S. wins, it's disappointing if it's a blowout. You really have an opportunity. You don't have this Ryder Cup every 2 years to have something really exciting happen on a Sunday.
Yep.
And if you want to, the pressure of a Ryder Cup of a player in a singles match in the Ryder Cup is greater than the pressure that they'll encounter on the back nine of a major.
Right.
Because they're playing for their teammates, and if they lose, they're not the only ones that lose. Everybody else on their team loses.
Right. So a good example, Bernard Langer had that 6-foot putt at
unbelievable
to win, right?
That was win or lose, or
win or tie.
Win or tie. So whoever gets the cup,
right.
He makes it. They win the cup. He misses it.
Right.
America wins the cup, and he missed, and it was in the makeable range. Right. It was like 6-7 feet, right?
Yeah, very close. 6 foot. Yeah, absolutely. And then the next week he wins an event.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
He went to Germany, I believe, and won whatever the event was.
Well, the Germans don't have any emotion. They brush it right off.
Oh, I know. But the average guy would have crumbled after that missed putt.
Could have been career ending.
He won a Masters after that, didn't he?
I don't know
along the line.
Yeah, he may have won the second one. He won the first one before.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's so tough-minded that he won majors after that.
And we didn't say anything about that. He won the Payne Stewart Award.
Yeah.
They gave that away last week and made a nice speech. And that whole award has got some good recipients. And it's a nice touch by everybody. Yeah.
They broadcast it on Golf Channel, the ceremony, and it's probably it's a nice lifetime achievement type of deal.
Sure is.
Yeah, for sure. And with so many people in the world of golf, they're only giving it out once a year. It's quite an honor.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyways, the Ryder Cup's here. That usually means that it's fall, and fall golf, bittersweet. It's some of the best golf of the year, and some of the nicest times to play, especially up here in upstate New York.
Oh yeah.
But it also means that the end's coming, for us up here in the Northeast.
Winter is coming.
As we sit here on September 24th, we probably got about 30 days of good golf. Well, decent golf. The deeper you get into October, you hope for good weather in October.
Snag a few in November, maybe if you get lucky.
A lot of courses airify their greens.
Mm-hmm. You get a sunny day, 40 degrees. That's an awesome place to be out there playing golf.
Yeah, I've been out.
As long as the wind's not blowing.
I've played golf in November, good golf in November for the past several years.
Yeah,
and not like every on schedule, but hey, it's nice out. It's Saturday and it's nice out. You want to head down. But right now the days are getting shorter. It's tough to get that round in after work, and there's a lot of tournaments locally, a lot of money tournaments locally in the fall. We have our version of the Ryder Cup, the Canal Cup, Seneca Falls versus Silver Creek on October 13th to keep you focused a little bit on your game. And but yeah, it's inevitably it will come to an end, like this podcast will next week for the season. But yeah, I'm still hopefully people aren't hanging up the clubs yet.
Oh no,
Not the golfers today.
definitely not.
Down at Seneca
It was a great
Falls.
morning. Well, once the fog lifted, I mean, it was a great morning after about 8 o'clock. We had a lot of activity this morning for, Monday morning, but it was great. A lot of people I hadn't seen in a while.
And you're going to be playing golf,
Yeah,
but it's not going to be fall golf. It's going to be Florida golf.
It's gonna be hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like the middle of summer, but I'll take it. 3 rounds this week down in Fort Lauderdale, Miami.
So
looking forward to
tough,
that.
so hard to take.
It is. Somebody's got to do it, I guess. Anytime. Let's go. We can go anywhere you guys want. I'll go wherever you want to go.
Well, just a message, I guess, to the ones who are putting their clubs away. Now's a good time to take a look at your clubs. If you need new grips, it's a perfect time of the year to get them done. Places aren't too busy to do them. If you're going away for Thanksgiving or Christmas or a spring trip, now's the time to get that out of the way. Instead of having a rush,
Also,
you take a look at your clubs March 1st because you're leaving town and the grips are falling apart.
also a good time to buy clubs.
It's a good time to buy clubs.
Pro
Things
shops will
are,
give you a deal. I know a guy at Seneca Falls Country Clubs. He's giving a few good deals out. I got another wedge the other
They got a
day.
good supporter over here. So.
Absolutely. I mean,
But,
And apparel, a lot of closeouts on
Yeah.
apparels and stuff. You're going to those short sleeve golf shirts that you might not wear until next spring. You can pick them up on some deals in the fall. But yeah, it is. I savor every round now a little sweeter than I did in July. Because it's winter is long.
well, the good thing you always try to get a few more in now this time of year. So you're almost you could, if the weather breaks right, you could get a few more rounds in that you almost don't get in. Because the early season next year could take a while to get there. April, sometimes March is really nice. And
Well,
April's
this year
good, but
we didn't
sometimes-
play golf. We didn't even get a chance to really play until May.
Yeah.
April is rough.
Yeah.
So you want to get out there. If the weather's nice now, you get those rounds back.
That's right.
You know.
I do notice last year that this time of year people are more apt to take a half a day because the weather's so good. In April, they might hold on to it because there's more days coming.
Sure.
Why take one now? But now you could be sitting on a week or two's vacation. You don't need all those days. Get out 11 o'clock, go play some golf because it's gonna be dark tonight about 6:30 or so. It's starting to get dark.
Yeah.
So that happens pretty fast. But
And the courses are usually in better shape now than they are in the
No,
start
they're
of
in
the
great shape,
start of the
yeah.
season too. So you're
Yeah.
going to get courses in pristine shape.
and relatively quiet.
Yeah.
So
Well, my next round is scheduled for Wednesday afternoon. I hope it doesn't rain. So, yeah, Ryder Cup week. It should be great. The season's come to a culmination here at the Tour Championship, and now, thankfully, I'm thankful the Ryder Cup's this week because I think that'll leave a little better taste in my mouth as a way to culminate the season. Although maybe Tiger has more in store for us this week. Maybe he'll do.
so.
Maybe he'll go undefeated, or maybe it'll come down to Tiger against Rory, or Tiger against Rose, or Tiger against Sergio in the singles,
Yep.
all tied up, winner take all, coming down the stretch.
Well, that's interesting. Like, where do you put him out?
right.
Based on this week's individual performance, you should wait because obviously things happen during the first 2 days.
I think
But
they try to figure out where do they stand after 2 days, right, and then figure out
Yeah.
blast them early or
Yeah.
hold them till late.
yeah,
I think some of it's orchestrated too, because there's some pairings that two guys hate each other and all of a sudden they're paired against each other. You
Right.
know, and
Yeah.
it's too ironic.
You mean NBC
Yeah.
has something to do with it?
Well, you got to wonder what goes on in the back room that we don't know about.
Yeah, like, hey, I'm going to put him at number 4
Right.
just to let you know.
Right.
Or last year we had Reed and McElroy were doing the shush,
Yeah, and they were
right?
the last
All of a
two,
sudden they're
right?
together. It makes you wonder.
Or-
So
They weren't the last two, but they were together, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll see a lot of those matchups, and then we'll be back here next Monday. So you're going to go all the way down to Florida and come back, and we'll be holding it down up here, playing some golf here in upstate New York. And thanks to everybody for joining us here on the GolfJ.com podcast. Remember to connect with us on Twitter at the GolfJ, on Instagram at the _GolfJ, on Facebook at facebook.com/GolfJ. All of our episodes and the best of the wide world of golf on the web can be found at GolfJ.com. We'll be back next Monday at 9 p.m. Until then, hit 'em long, not often.
golfj.com.